It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The NFL has revealed the season opener for this year as the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles host the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday, September 4th to kick off the 2025 NFL regular season. In other NFL news over the weekend, Saints quarterback Derek Carr announced he is retiring after 11 seasons in the NFL. Carr was a second-round pick of the Raiders in 2014 and a four-time Pro Bowler, amassing over 41,000 yards in his career. In VFL news, former Vols edge rusher James Pierce Jr. is signing his 4-year, fully guaranteed contract with the Atlanta Falcons. The contract is worth $16.8 million. Pierce was the 26th overall pick in this year's NFL Draft. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We got Vanderbilt versus Tennessee baseball. We have Derek Carr retiring. We have rookie minicamp. We have all kinds of things to talk about. We got 2 hours to do it, and we want to hear from you. Like I said, 615-737-1045, or in the F&M Bank chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. And I guess I want to start with Derek Carr real quick, because obviously, I'm very glad now that Tennessee Titans did not attempt at all or do anything with Derek Carr. And what a wild scenario to happen, because a couple of weeks ago, he's up on at some church, at the church in Vegas that he goes to, talking about a sermon, acting like everything's going to be okay. There's a huge Jane Slater tweet storm where she's detailing everything that happened with Derek Carr. Then, boom, he retires out of nowhere, it feels like, on Saturday. And I guess if you're the New Orleans Saints, I don't think you're really that prepared for this. I know they drafted Tyler Shuck and they have 2 guys underneath it, but the way that they restructured his contract and everything made it seem like Carr was at least going to be here for a year, the next 2 years at least.
Well, I think he told them beforehand, what I'm understanding is that he got injured when he started throwing again after he had hand and concussion issues during the season. I hear a lot of Saints fans are excited about this, that he's no longer going to be there, I guess because of the injury history here. And then when he started throwing and ramping up on his own, he felt like he felt something in his shoulder. So then he went and then told the New Orleans Saints training staff, then they took a look at it, and then voila. Because didn't he get a new contract extension?
Yeah, they restructured it.
So then he only took the signing bonus. Good for him, $10 million. And then he said, well, the $30 million that I'm owed, I'll just walk away. Then helping them with the cap too, by the way. I think in some way that they redid it.
It's wild.
Crazy how it was. Like that.
It just all of a sudden, and then now you got everybody trying to figure out who the next quarterback is. I know they've talked a lot about Jake Haener, who's going into his 3rd season, if I'm not mistaken, 3rd season. Spencer Rattler is also there. That's who I think is going to win the battle, Spencer Rattler. But then you also have Tyler Shuck, who is the 2nd-round quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So my question is, does Spencer Rattler... they kind of talked about this on Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning about how sometimes competitions aren't really competitions, because your staff maybe has a handpicked guy, and this staff handpicked Tyler Shuck to be, quote unquote, the heir apparent to Derek Carr. They didn't draft Spencer Rattler. So is this Tyler Shuck? Is it a real quarterback battle, or is this just Tyler Shuck's job to lose in your mind?
Well, I have no idea what the Saints are doing. I'm not following the Saints, so I could care less about the freaking Saints, to be honest. But if I was making a guess, I would say Tyler Shuck has the, as you know, I said I liked him at the Senior Bowl. I know you weren't a big fan of him, but he went 2nd round. He looked more pro-ready, and I think it's a lot has to do with their coach, who's coached a lot of NFL-type quarterbacks. I played against him, actually. So he's head coach of Louisville.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good. Braum was the third-string quarterback when he was with the 49ers after we knocked out both their quarterbacks. Got to see Braum live and in action. He definitely was not an NFL quarterback, but he has tutored a lot of different quarterbacks, and they've done well. So I thought when I saw him at the Senior Bowl, he looked like he had already played in the league, just the way he was going about his business and how he threw the ball. He had great arm talent, so I kind of liked him. I know he got kind of old because he was gone to multiple universities, so I think he's going to win the job. Kellen Moore is the new head coach there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore, so he's going to pick his guys, you kind of mentioned. And I think who wins the battle at the beginning of the season, to me, is not the answer. The answer is who's the start in the middle of the season.
Who holds on to it or gets it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be more the take if I was watching from afar, because you got to think and assume that, the quarterback they drafted this past draft, that he was going to eventually be out there, because what do they have to lose? I don't think their team is going to be a playoff-type contending team.
Probably not. I mean, probably more so with Derek Carr, but even then, what's your real ceiling with a guy like Derek Carr at this point in your roster building? Because really, I look at it and I go, this is just it's a team that I feel is like not understanding that they are in rebuild mode, and maybe this kind of forces their hand into be really reset their outlook, because we have talked about the Saints numerous times, how it just doesn't seem like they understand the state of their roster versus the cap and all that kind of stuff. And they're still, and I don't fault teams for still trying to compete, but at some point you just kind of have to admit this is a rebuild. This is time to rebuild. We've been trying to chase the ghost with some of these older players for a while now, and it feels like they're still chasing the ghost. Maybe this forces their hand into that way. You got Jackson.
How much does the Saints' current situation mirror that of the Titans in 2023?
Ooh, that is it would have probably mirrored more had Derek Carr stuck around, I guess you could say.
What do you mean they mirror? What the veteran Tannehill to these all three young players?
I mean, like the older quarter, if Derek Carr sticks around, or with Derek Carr on the roster, kind of the way their roster is constructed, where it probably needs more of a reset, but you're going to push on because of your veteran quarterback. Yeah. I think this gives them more of an opportunity to step back and reset.
Yeah, if Derek Carr had stuck around, that would be a more apt description or comparison, I guess I should say, than to the Saints. I think now they're almost like it's like the worst version of that, and kind of like, I guess you're going to figure out if you have a young quarterback of the future fairly quick out of any three of these guys. Mm-hmm. And so maybe this is a good thing for them as well, in the sense of you're going to find out fairly quick. And maybe they find out that Chuck isn't the guy. Maybe they find out Spencer Rattler isn't the guy, and maybe they can dip into the quarterback pool next year. But I don't know. I think it's good and it's bad. Like, it's an aging roster. Not a lot of roster with a lot of high-end talent, but you're going to have an answer sooner rather than later on your three young quarterbacks in this year that may allow you to pivot next year.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the battle here, really, because all those guys, I feel like I'm real comfortable to say that all of them are true backup quarterbacks. Who rises to the crop in this competition will be really interesting. And Shuck being an older guy, really probably around the same age. I don't even know if he's the same age or not, but I know he was like 26 when he came out or some crazy age. But so it's going to be fun to watch. And maybe that's kind of how they parlay it. And then naturally, we all know what level you're at, college or pro, you kind of lean into the guys that you brought in.
Right.
And so they eventually have an edge, and you give them a little longer leash. So we shall see.
Yeah. What you got, Jackson?
Tyler Shuck is a full year older than Spencer Rattler.
Told you.
Yeah, he's old.
Because he went to Oregon, then Louisville. He went to another school, too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oregon, Texas Tech, Louisville.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, but I do think this is kind of a blessing in disguise. I know Saints fans are all excited. I saw so many people excited that Derek Carr is not on their team anymore, which I think is a little odd, I would say, but because, he's not actively terrible, but I think it is a blessing in disguise for them because, like I said, this new staff last year for the Tennessee Titans found out pretty quick that, we may need a quarterback after a year. Maybe they'll find out if one of these guys are the guy, And Kellen Moore now has a lot of time to dedicate to finding this guy instead of having Derek Carr there. They got these three guys. Maybe there's some offensive tweaks that come around and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they'll have their answer by the end of the season.
Well, they better, or they're going to be in a world hurt in the quarterback market again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they want to be in that. Some say, yeah, maybe a strong quarterback draft. But
Well, they also got a guy in their own backyard down there, Garrett Nussmeier, who
Right.
a lot of people like.
You don't like him.
We'll see. We'll see what he is this
I
year.
actually like him. He goes through his progression where he's like a pro quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like Tyler Shuck, too. These guys, when you don't have to have the biggest arm, but they are mechanically exactly how you play in the league. And you watch them, and their game is built around like how most quarterbacks play in the league. Worst case scenario, this guy's going to be backup. Because neither one of them you can say, oh, they have big arms. Levis will out throw him any day.
Yeah.
But will he hit the target?
Well, I think we've seen no.
See? So they hit the target.
Yeah. And listen, I'm just saying that if they figure out fairly early that, okay, this Tyler Shuck thing is not going to work out, or the Spencer Rattler thing, Jake Hayner is nothing more than a backup, then, which some of these could happen, they're going to have an opportunity next year to likely be in the driver's seat for either A, the number one pick, or B, find a quarterback if these quarterbacks don't pan out. But what's also interesting is that if maybe Tyler Shuck is the guy and they still don't have anything more than 4 or 5 wins, well, you got an opportunity to trade back because you found your quarterback, but the team wasn't good enough around the quarterback to win you some games. So now maybe you have some ammo to move back and really kickstart your rebuild for the New Orleans Saints. It's very interesting. When we come back, we're going to try to answer the question of what the hell is going on with the University of Tennessee baseball. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And, listen, Vanderbilt baseball really put a hurting on Tennessee this weekend. I mean, I yet to give them props. I mean,
a real hurting.
A real hurting. Are you saying that you are not hurt today over the loss this weekend?
I didn't like it, but I mean, it was a competitive series. I mean,
you act like they blew them out.
Yeah, like let's not act like it was not competitive here.
I mean, it was competitive, I would say, but it had you and Joseph in your feels earlier today.
Oh,
I mean, we don't like losing to Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
we went to Tennessee.
You all have told me since I've joined the show that baseball matters and all this stuff, because I always make fun that baseball doesn't matter, and as a sport in general, And then they're like, oh, no, baseball matters. Baseball matters. Said, y'all don't. He didn't even want me to talk about Tennessee baseball today. Jackson didn't. Because now he says, well, they stink, so I don't care about baseball anymore, is what him and Joseph said.
That is not what we said. We said it facetiously.
I don't know. I mean, Slay and Joseph said that Tennessee baseball sucks numerous times on 3HL.
They are not playing well. They're not playing good baseball right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, what are their issues, though? Because I saw he changed the lineup that final game, but, are they just pressing a little too much because they're under a little bit of pressure? I mean, because they're not living up to expectations? I mean, what is the real reason behind it? Is it pitching? What is it?
I think it's pitching because you have your ace, Liam Doyle, pitch on Friday. Tennessee has won the majority of the Friday games. They've started their series off very strong, but they have not been able – Saturdays have been downright horrific in the last month or so. So I think it's pitching. I think they lost a lot of their key bullpen pieces, and some guys aren't stepping up in the way that maybe Tony anticipated. I just think that it's just not clicking like it did last year. Obviously, you won a national championship last year, and it's tough, but there's not a ton that they can do to fix everything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's a little late in the ball game, and they're making simple mistakes. They can't get guys out when they're letting guys steal all over them. They're getting too much of the plate on 0-2 counts that are going for home runs. Against Vanderbilt, game was tied, 0-2 pitch, 2 outs. Guy hits a two-run shot, and that's ball game.
Making the game.
That's ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clutch hitting and defense for Vanderbilt. Who I just listen. Well, I do want to say. I mean, we're obviously talking about the Tennessee Volunteers losing, but another team won this weekend, and that is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And they are a local team that deserves some praise. And like you said, Tennessee's pitchers were giving up a lot of home runs with 2 strikes and 2 outs. But that also is credit to Vandy for not shrinking in the moment. And they're, even though they never led in Game 3 for the longest time in that game, their clutch hitting and defense kept them in the game and kept it close enough, and they came in through when it mattered, and that's very important to express about Vanderbilt.
Yeah, well, in the SEC, the pressure's there when you're talking about baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball, it doesn't get the, claim to fame or a lot of people eyeballs on it compared to football, but it is just as competitive. 11 versus 15, so we got to give credit. Both teams are really good, but Vandy used to be the dominant team, and now over the last 3 years, Tennessee has kind of caught up to them, and then they won the national championship. So now I believe it is now a true heated rivalry in baseball. Yeah. Even though it was before, I think now we're living with an even playing field here, and everybody's going to, it's a lot at stake, because you saw at the end of the last game now, didn't they kind of come out of the benches a little bit?
At the end after the game, there was I would call it a brouhaha. But back to the game at hand. I looked at a stat. Tennessee, going into the 9th inning, had left 9 runners on base. Vanderbilt had left only 3.
Wow.
That's how you lose games.
And then Tennessee left the bases loaded in the 9th, so you add another 4 onto that. That's 13 runners stranded on base.
Wow.
Vanderbilt leaves 3. You lose by 2 runs. So, you got to be able to – you need better clutch hitting, and you need better outings from your bullpen guys.
Well, they've lost now 4 consecutive series at home, 4 consecutive series against the SEC. And 5 out of the last 6 weekends they've came out on bottom. They're 6-11 in conference play, beginning SEC play 9-1. Do you think that Jackson, that all these changes that they keep making to the lineup is fine to do right now because you're trying to figure out and plan ahead for the tournament? Do you think there's a little bit of that where it's, okay, yeah, we're doing a lot of changing, but we got to figure out something that works because we have not been able to find a consistent winning combination in the lineup?
I think baseball is so different than any other sport that lineup changes are just necessary to, like, okay, this guy's hitting really well. We want to get him in the lineup. We want to get him more at bats. You're going to see that lineup shaking up the lineup more than you would in most sports. So I don't really have any huge issues or thoughts on them trying to get right. I think it's just going with hot hands and trying to figure out. I think it's more finding out your best 9 guys on defense, because Tennessee's also had a lot of errors. They had 3 yesterday, and they need to find the most consistent defensive positional output. And I think that's the key in Fayetteville and the SEC tournament if you want to do anything in the national tournament.
Tennessee's offense hit 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
That's what he's talking about, leaving them on base there. Golly, that's definitely a recipe for disaster.
So where's your mentality out with the SEC baseball tournament and, of course, Omaha coming up on the horizon? Where's your mentality? Where are you at?
Get to the tournament. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Got to get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Baseball is a real finicky sport. You could go through some lulls and be down, and all of a sudden, one game, and then everybody's back on track. It's really weird, man.
Well, it was that way for Tennessee a couple of years ago with Vandy, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, they trounced Vandy, and that changed their whole trajectory of that season.
Yeah, Tennessee was struggling in 2023. They host Vandy. They, I believe, sweep Vandy in that series, and that turned them around. They went to Omaha, eventually losing to the eventual champions LSU in Omaha.
And to be honest, there's Jackson brought up a point that there is, for whatever reason, college baseball lately, a big hangover for the prior team that won the championship in that following season that they won the championship.
Oh, there's history there that says
so there's a little bit of recent history there.
But Tennessee has broken a lot of trends in Tennessee in baseball.
Still hopeful.
Oh, okay.
They were the first 1 seed last year since 1999 to win the national championship.
There you go. It was a fun ride. Even though I'm not a University of Tennessee fan, it was fun to watch them play baseball.
Awesome. It was awesome.
Because that was towards the end of me, or that tournament was finishing up when I started the show. So it was a little fun to watch, UT baseball.
Well, baseball, what you love also, that wasn't even the best. The team the year before was better than them. And then the team before that was better than them.
Yeah.
So you just wonder, like, man, where you could tell me better, like, dang, they got hot at the right time and they went on a run. And there was no stopping them after, was it the first team they played or the second team? Was it Notre Dame? Who was
Notre Dame in the Super Regionals.
Tennessee, yeah.
The 2022 Tennessee baseball team is probably one of the most talented college baseball teams I've ever seen. It's up there with 2023 LSU, who won the national championship.
I was disappointed they didn't win it all. I really was.
And I think 2024 Tennessee baseball was more talented than 2023, mainly because they brought so many guys back who developed and got better in 2024 from 2023.
Okay.
So ranking these to kind of, I would go 20 in terms of talent, obviously, 22, 24, then 23.
Okay, got you. Yeah. And then only one championship, and that was the 24, which was the second best roster based off talent.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 24 roster, I mean, you count like probably 5, 6 guys who are in the major leagues right now, just 3 years removed.
Well, I would say, as much things that could be possibly going wrong with the University of Tennessee, there's a couple things going right for Vanderbilt right now. Pitcher Ethan McIlvain closed out both of the wins for the Vanderbilt Commodores in each of those 2 wins, which is very good because he's a super talented pitcher. He's been a little bit hot and cold. And so if he is returning to form in the right time of this season, Vanderbilt could, because of their defense and their pitching, and now maybe they found a little bit of a clutch gene, could be going into the SEC tournament to make some noise, maybe even into Omaha if things break right for them as well.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's all about getting the right time. So maybe this is Vanderbilt's version of 2023, where UT came in, trounced Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt now has stolen a victory, broke their losing streak to University of Tennessee, and maybe this is a way for things to turn around for them.
I also think Tennessee's going to see Vandy again.
That would be fun.
It was only fitting that happens that way, right?
I think they meet in the SEC tournament, and I'm going to think this series ends up 2-2 for the year.
Interesting. It will be really to me, they have a bunch of power hitters for Vanderbilt as well. So it's just interesting to see, can Vanderbilt turn this into a big momentum swing for their program and their team, at least heading to the SEC tournament coming up? Of course, the University of Tennessee has Belmont coming up this week. Is that correct, Jackson?
Yes, in the final midweek match of the season.
Don't sleep on them now. Belmont's always got a good baseball program.
You guys nervous? Battered Vols syndrome, coming up?
We're on to Belmont.
What's Belmont's record? Do we know?
I will look.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Belmont's baseball this year, but typically they've had a pretty solid baseball program.
They are 26-32 overall right now.
Oh.
12-15 in conference play. So they had tough conference schedules. Or is that? No way. Hold on. They're 24-28. So that is the 2024 baseball team.
Oh.
24-28 in the 2025, 13-11 in conference play. They're on a one series win streak. At home, they're 14-14, and away 10-13. Neutral sites 0-1.
Typically in those matchups, Tennessee just has better pitching over time. They can get them in that first game if they have their number one ace. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's these midweek matchups. It's kind of tough. Tennessee just has a higher talent profile. The real Tennessee has a huge weekend series this weekend. They travel to Arkansas, one of the top teams in the country.
Yes.
So that's on the horizon as well. This is a huge week for Tennessee baseball. If they want to host a regional, they need to probably win 3 baseball games this weekend or this week.
I'll have to sit down and watch it from beginning to end.
Yep. Lot at stake for University of Tennessee this week. I tell you what else happened this weekend? Rookie minicamp happened, Blaine. I'm not big
I wasn't there. Were you there, Jackson?
I was not at rookie minicamp.
Oh, okay. It was Mother's Day weekend. It took a lot. I couldn't skip on that.
I saw the clips, or as some fans would say, the lack thereof, because they don't like.
Are we gonna be like that?
I know, no. I mean, the fans, they're all in their feelings right now
they
on
get
Twitter.
Enough clips about
but the Browns got all these clips and all this stuff, and someone tweeted, I think the Seattle Seahawks with Jalen Milroe, and I get it. Listen, I personally do not care or find it to be a big deal, but I understand why fans do, because you want access to your team. I get it,
of course.
But I thought what was more interesting to me was the press conferences. Now, I did watch all the press conferences and everything, and I think that there seemed to be a very common theme, and it's been the common theme that's been said about from Mike Bergonzi to Chad Brinker to Brian Callen about this draft class. And again, they're all words, but you got a real glimpse into some of the work ethic, some of the mindset of these rookies this weekend, and I do think that matters to a certain degree. Now, means more on what happens on the field. But I do like that I think that if you were looking for that common theme or the reason why behind some of these guys got drafted, I think you got that glimpse this weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. All about that action, words. But yes, I'm going to just say this. They seem like they're already professionals.
They really do, don't they?
They're some mature young guys who are focused, driven, work hard. Does that mean they're going to have the results that they want? Maybe not, but they may be mentally tough enough to respond to, the tough times that you're going to have. And that's kind of unique in this era of athlete. So sometimes they kind of, go into a cave and, especially with all the social media and everything else. I just think these guys are all around well-quality people first and foremost. And then the rest is, they're class acts. So, I appreciate that. I really thought that about J.C. Latham. I never really put a lot of stock into a young player being a leader. But, man, when he spoke, it was definitely different. He showed leadership skills right off the bat. And so I think all these guys have those same traits. So
yeah, all the guys that got interviewed, it really felt like I think the only people we didn't hear from were Khalil Mullins. I think was the only one that we didn't hear from. Did they do a presser with Marcus Harris too? I know that they maybe got to talk to him. Either way, but from beginning to end, from Cam Ward all the way down, it really felt like, yes, I get it now. Like the way that they went about this draft, we don't know if it will translate to on the field, like you said, but I feel a lot better about how this draft class is setting the foundation and the tone for years to come. And that's what they said, right? They said they wanted to find guys who love football, that love Monday through Saturday just as much as they love Sunday. And maybe it's just because they're riding high off their first rookie minicamp, but it really seems like they, at least the Tennessee Titans decision makers in this draft, fulfilled what they promised to fulfill. And that was finding guys that put the team first, that are real go-getters, that have the right mentality that they're looking for, that are going to be tone setters for the rest of how they do business in the next couple of years. You still got to be productive. You could be the nicest guy. You could be the hardest working guy. And if that's not followed up with some kind of production that benefits the team, then it's not going to really matter. But I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about when you hit those lows in the season, like you said, when you come up against that adversity or those losses, these are the guys you want to go to battle with on the field more often than not, because they're the guys that are going to be there and say, we got this. Don't worry, we can win this game. And that's what you've talked about a lot on here, is that having that mentality of that saying, I got you. Don't worry, we'll pick you up.
Did Cam say that exactly?
No, I don't know if he did or not.
I think he did.
But he did say something about being a team player. His big thing has always been not the I, but listen, I can do all this stuff. I want to be known as a good teammate.
Yeah, so that's they're just high character guys who put in the work, and it's resonating in their career. Now, if some of them going to be turning into superstars, some really good players, and maybe some of them backups. But you know what you have in your locker room, and that's why you talk about the foundation. So these are the pieces with a franchise quarterback, hopefully. So we shall see, man. But I think they're on the right track.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see now that the vets are in there and they get to working together. That is really a unique time, because there's a transformation time during that period where, the young players are a little intimidated, or let's say hesitant, because they want you to kind of lead the way. And sometimes the vets are sitting there saying, hey, man, we already know you're a super talented guy. You're going to be our guy, whatever position that is. Kind of let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's roll. Be confident. And but, it's about respect. And then everything else, handles itself. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it was a nice, I wouldn't say it's refreshing or anything, but I would say that it's like you could – I think seeing the plan start coming into focus, the philosophy is really nice to see so early. Again, you got to make sure that you produce. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's a guy that you want to bet against that they won't produce in some way, because I think they all sound them.
Not just because they're working, but just who they are as people.
Right.
But one thing I can say, what was UCLA doing? At their, this is where I get really conflicted with sometimes these college coaches versus the pro coaches. Like, when you see him on the video, it's like, he is not no dang on freaking linebacker.
When you see him at the podium.
I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? This dude is huge.
You're talking about Femi Deio, and that was the same thing that I saw and thought first, too. It was like, he's up at the podium. Just the way that he was built at the podium. And I'm like, why was this dude playing inside linebacker?
Oh, my gosh. I'm like, man, if he develops just a couple moves here in his first season, I think he may be all right, because he was coming around that corner, and the practice reps was like, oh, okay. Let's see this.
And talk about a high energy guy. You want to get that clip ready, Jackson? We have a clip of his high energy on the field. I don't think he was. I think he was. Well, yeah, he did say he was mic'd up, because he told Cam he was the feds today, because he was mic'd up. He was the feds. But here is Femi Deio all throughout camp at rookie minicamp this weekend.
We in the NFL. Right, we in the league now. You got us, Coach Bones. All right, let's go. Hey, score on 3. 1, 2, 3, score. Fast hands. I like it. Strike that thing. Oh, come on, pay attention. We only got one. Come on. Go again. Come on. Hurry up. Yeah. Oh, I see you, Banger. I see you, boy. Better have fun with it. I see you. Hey, goodbye. I see you. Hey, hustle off the field. Stop walking on my field. Oh, we got discipline. Yeah. Good, brother? Y'all having fun? Football's supposed to be fun, baby. Fun. If you're tired, that's okay. Oh, right there, good. Okay. Good. I see you, 2-6. I see you. Oh, yeah. Good work, boy. There we go. Good communication. Great communication. Good talk, y'all. Good talk.
Now, the question becomes, can he carry that over into the veterans when the veterans are there and carry that loud voice? Because I think the defense needs a loud voice and energetic voice over there to maybe complement kind of the other leaders that they have. I really love it. I think it is awesome. And like you said, the way that he looks physically,
Oh, man.
just insanely well put together. I mean, for an edge rusher.
Got some tree trunks there, boy.
Yeah. I mean, talking about a guy that I can see why the power to speed rush move works so well just by looking at him. Like, that's why one of his big things. And of course, he's been working on his club and working on other pass rush moves. And you're right. If they can get him developed, that would be so great for the Tennessee Titans to have an impact edge rusher in year one, not just next year, in year one.
Yep, and then you'll be praising that was a great job by them.
It will be. I will. Because I have to see it, right? Got to see it to believe it.
Hey,
I think Eric Reed puts it really well. Titans are rich in intangibles, but are they rich in skill?
Yeah.
And I think that's the big question is, does all these traits that they have chosen, will they translate into on-field success? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you're a 6-win team this year, as long as Cam Ward develops, probably not that worried about next year because they have said that it's really about 2026 and 2027 with some of these draft class prospects. But you got to see Cam Ward develop, and that's the thing. But, man, it's hard. I know everybody gets excited over the game clips, the throws, and the drills and all that kind of stuff. But really, the presser got me more excited than anything else.
Well, I got excited, seeing them practicing, seeing the videos and everything else. But to add on to that skill, you have to get some experience. So some things you just won't know until you get them.
Yep.
So they're going to make mistakes. But I think these guys are all smart football players, and they'll get in there quick learners. That's based off of how they operate. I really love this entire group, really, that they've drafted. And even some of the free agent guys, I'm interested to see if somebody squeaks through the cracks that we're not even talking about that may make the team or be a contributor, even if they're on the practice squad team. But you go, hey, man, that guy's going to be a player. You just never know when camp starts. Hey, man, I'm sure when I started, they would say, boss, say, where is that? That guy's not going to make the team. I remember reading that in the paper. I go, oh, okay. We're about to see.
Yeah. Well, there's one guy that turned his tryout into a contract this weekend. We'll talk about that undrafted free agent when we come back and other takeaways from rookie minicamp, like what's something that Chimere DK said about his time in Florida. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 26 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations, repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine, did you?
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Got a lot of things we want to talk about rookie minicamp. But I do want to talk about this, talking about guys that can turn, I guess, opportunities into something more concrete, because you were talking about, even if a guy lands on the practice squad, could this guy turn into something later on down the road? Yeah. Thompson Station's own TJ Sheffield, who was a wide receiver for Purdue for 5 years, it looks like, here according to PFF, and UConn last year. Guy that got a chance to return some this weekend. I know that he had at least one drop this weekend because someone had, I think Jim White had wrote about that. But a guy that turned that opportunity, he was just there as a tryout player, has now signed as an undrafted free agent to the main roster of the Tennessee Titans, currently the 90-man roster. And he's a guy that is very similar to what Xavier Restrepo provides you, except for he provides you more return, I guess, the more ability to return punts and kicks, because he has a lot of experience doing that. He's a guy that's played mainly in the slot. He's 5'9", roughly. I think he was like 190 pounds. So it'll be really interesting to see how that battle goes for TJ, because obviously he's 188 according to the last weigh-in he did at his pro day. So he's 5'9", almost 5'10", 188. And so it'll be really interesting to see how he does with his opportunity. And that's the kind of stuff I like paying attention to, is how do these guys maximize opportunity? It's why I liked Bryce Oliver. It's why I like a lot of these undrafted free agent stories when they make it, is because those are guys that made it off of hard work, improving every day throughout practice. Whether even if they're just making a practice squad, they still showed enough to keep them on the practice squad.
Yeah, I think a lot of people here naturally know TJ Sheffield. He went to Independence, a really, really good player. I think it was between Purdue and Tennessee, and then he ended up going to Purdue because they kind of ran more of a spread at that time with Brom. But he was there to coach then, and they had a lot of success there at Purdue, which is not a big-time football program in the Big Ten. So he went there and been very productive. I think he even he probably put up 100 yards versus Tennessee in the bowl game here. He's had some injury history. I think he dislocated his ankle, and then I think he hurt something else another year or so. Then he transferred to UConn and has done really well. But it was an exceptional player. I think he was a 4-star guy coming out. So, I wouldn't put anything past him. Hard worker, blue collar. I think Restrepo returns kicks too as well, right?
Yeah, he did get opportunity to return. Now, he has some special team snaps over from Miami here and there as a returner, and he was given the opportunity. It was him, TJ Sheffield, Chimere DK, and someone else. I can't remember who the fourth guy was that was reported that they did returns this weekend as well. But obviously, that's what they're looking for, right? They are looking for a guy that they can rely on and return this weekend from these rookie mini camps, because when you're a wide receiver in a crowded wide receiver room, you're going to have to make your bones on special teams in some form of fashion, whether that's in a coverage unit or return unit at this stage in the game. And Bryce Oliver has a leg up on everybody in that regard because he's got the experience, right?
Going out tackling.
And he's fast. I mean, you could put him all over if you wanted to. There's also, Virgil Lemons was the fourth guy. The guy, I should have remembered that, the guy I talked about on Friday from West Florida. So he was the other guy that was in that return mix. So now you're going to have the veterans come in, because you're going to have Mason Kinsey. Jaquan Jackson's fighting for a return job as well. How does that return position kind of filter itself out through James Proche as well, or Proche? Got to figure out how you pronounce that last name.
Proche.
Is it Proche?
Yeah.
He's there as well. So you got to figure out now, how do these wide receivers or defensive backs try to make this team with a very crowded returning unit, I guess you would say. It's got a lot of guys that are vying for that last spot on the roster, that we're talking number 48 to 53, that last spot on the roster to and come in September when they do roster cut down day.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because I'm seeing people putting out lists about who's going to make the team, and I saw one that had like Van Jefferson like way down, like he might even make the team, and I definitely disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm like, hey,
the idea
on,
that, let me tell you something.
Hold up a minute, man. Y'all getting way ahead when these guys haven't even touched the field yet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very hesitant to be talking about Restrepo or any TJ Sheffield about somebody beating out some veteran player until I actually see
them do it.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, man, that's really hard to do, especially if they're still at that salary that's let's say minimum for a veteran. Then those guys are still fighting and clawing, to make the roster. They're super motivated, and they got some skin in the game because they played in this league. They know what it takes. They could talk about how many yards Van Jefferson had last year, the year before. I mean, you got to go look up at the history. His first year there in the Rams, he had, I think, over 100 yards. I mean, man, this guy is NWA-like when we're talking about his contribution of what he's done in this league and did it sooner than later. So I think we got to be careful. I know last year I think he only had over 200 and something yards or something. But yeah, let's just wait and see Restrepo and how he stacks up versus the other guys. And I keep using Mason Kinsey because he's the guy that kind of more so as a slot guy, and he impressed me with his quickness. And so I want to see how he looks compared to Restrepo and all the other guys that are going to compete. Because one thing that's going to happen now is, Restrepo may not be getting those reps as much with Cam. Sometimes they rotate guys in and you may get one here or there, but he's not going to be getting every rep with Cam Ward, so they won't have the same chemistry just knowing each other without, just waking up, getting out of bed. So that always is different. So when you have a different guy throwing to you.
Well, and also Cam Ward said, because Teron Davenport asked him at the press conference, what's this making yourself more comfortable? I know it's a different phrase, and I can't remember the phrase off the top of my head, but it's like, does having Xavier Restrepo here make things more comfortable for you as a quarterback? He goes, no, not really. I've known I've known X for a while now, and now it's all about these other guys. And that's not to say that he's not, saying that X isn't important, because he tried to get every team that he interviewed with to draft X. If you draft me, please draft X. Please draft Restrepo. But at the end of the day, he's got the mindset of, it's not just about one guy to make myself feel comfortable. I got to feel comfortable
with all the guys.
Yeah. So
you see how he tried to cut that off the head real quick.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, we're going to have chemistry, but hey, I got to get with everybody. And so, especially the first unit, once that becomes established, who's the first unit, I would assume it was going to be, Lockett, Ridley, and Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
At the wide receiver.
This idea that Van Jefferson is not, to me,
I don't know, man.
Here's my theory. Tell me if I'm wrong.
If he's not the third, he's number 4. I'm sorry.
I mean, I almost think that he's probably number 2 right now, but I mean, obviously one of these rookies can maybe change their mind as far as starting outside wide receivers. Obviously, maybe Lockett's going to get to. But I gotta ask you about this Van Jefferson thing, because I think it's wild the way that people are just tossing him to the side. And
yeah,
me, I wasn't even the biggest Van Jefferson fan when he got signed. I wanted something else.
He's a quality depth
but he's
piece.
a quality veteran. Yeah. He's got experience, and why would this team not want that experience on this team? So I'm going to ask you a question when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Guys, if something's holding you back from performing at your best, it's time to do something about it with Performing Enhancement Treatment Packages from Edge Peptide. Whether in the gym or on the course, with Edge Peptide and hormone therapy, you can show up stronger, feel better, recover faster, and stay in the game longer. You can boost your energy, build lean muscle mass, and heal from all those nagging injuries like I have. And as an athlete myself, I know how those injuries can affect your game. So if you're struggling with your joint pain or suffering from a recent injury or looking to recover faster after surgery, Edge has you covered. From peptide packages to PRP, stem cells, or high-film muscle stimulation, Edge is your exclusive Nashville area peptide specialist. So don't wait till summer to feel your best, and don't trust your health to some online pharmacy. And remember, at Edge, your consultation fee for $250 is waived with your initial order. So give them a call today at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
It is 2 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The NFL has revealed the season opener for this year as the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles host the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday, September 4th to kick off the 2025 NFL regular season. In other NFL news over the weekend, Saints quarterback Derek Carr announced he is retiring after 11 seasons in the NFL. Carr, a second-round pick of the Oakland Raiders in 2014 and a four-time Pro Bowler, amassing over 41,000 yards in his career. In VFL news, former Vols edge rusher James Pierce Jr. is signing his 4-year fully guaranteed contract with the Atlanta Falcons. Contract is worth $16.8 million. Pierce was the 26th overall pick in this year's NFL draft. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour 2 of Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And I it kind of feels like I am about to have a hot take, but it shouldn't be a hot take. And that is, barring him getting injured, I think Van Jefferson's a lock to make this team. I mean, I think he's like a 90% chance. I'd probably go 99%, but let's just say 90% chance to make the team. Outside of injury, I don't see how he doesn't make the team.
All right, so let's
am I crazy for that?
No, I would say he's going to make the team. I don't know, give a percentage, but I'm trying to go through the receivers now. We got Ridley, Lockett.
Yep. Then it would be Van Jefferson, I would assume.
Van Jefferson, we talking about the 2 draft picks.
Yep.
So that
Chimray, DK, and Elikayo Manor.
That's 5. How many you think they're going to keep? 6, 7?
6, maybe 7, depending on how the returner battle goes. But I think the 6 is Bryce Oliver.
Yeah.
They've talked glowingly about Bryce Oliver, and he played well for them, and he plays on special teams already.
I think those 6 are locked right there.
I feel like it is. Like, why do people not understand? It doesn't matter if you're Xavier Strepo, Jaquan Jackson, TJ Sheffield, Mason Kinsey. You're going to have to call that 7th wide receiver, James Prochet. That 7th wide receiver right there is going to have to make a difference on special teams in a returner capacity, more than likely, for them to necessitate keeping 7 wide receivers.
And it's going to be a surprise at every position where it's going to be a guy that's undrafted. You're going to be like, oh, man, that guy, he keeps showing up.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep happening like Oliver did. You're just going to be like, I don't know, this guy, he may make the roster. You start thinking like that because it's not exactly what you do in a game, but it's like what he's doing here on a daily basis.
Yeah, because Bryce Oliver was that guy last year. He
was.
Improved all the time. He showed up in some games this year. When they put him on special teams with Justin Hardy, special teams got better than the crap hole it was at the beginning of the year. And all they've done, and that's a guy that was getting second-team reps at a certain point in training camp because he was making splash plays and being consistent and improving every week. So the question then becomes, if you can't find a role in special teams, they can't just keep you because you're buddies. And I don't think, Blaine, that they're looking for a one-for-one slot replacement if Tyler Lockett were to get injured. You get what I'm saying? Like, if Tyler Lockett were to go down, I don't think they're constructing this roster saying, okay, we're building our final 53. Well, if Tyler Lockett goes down, who's our slot guy? And we have to have a slot-only guy. They have preached versatility, so I feel like they're just going to put in Chimray DK or they're going to put in Chig as a big slot, or maybe they split out a running back out there because they invested in all these other players. I think the idea that, well, they don't have a pure slot guy behind Tyler Lockett is flawed logic because I don't think they care.
Eric Reese said here on the chat, I thought it is very valid here. And, if, let's say, Jefferson gets nicked up a little bit, let's say a little hamstring strain, miss a little week of practice, and one of the young dudes that was a draft pick steps up all of a sudden. Now then there's a different story. They go, well, I don't know if we really, and then somebody else from the bottom of the roster starts playing up to the level, you go, well, we can, it's a cheaper version. You can get the same out of him. Then that's a possibility. But if he's not missing any reps, I'm with you. I just don't see it. And don't forget about my man Kinsey now. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, those guys that come from those small schools like that, man, and, they're driven like that, you never want to count against these dudes, man. I'm just saying. This guy's fought in battle. I mean, now, what has he been in the league now? 4 years, though?
Yeah.
I mean, he hadn't, probably played, but, 3 games in totality if you want to put it all together. But he keeps hanging around, man. Those are guys who bet on themselves, and they know they can play. They just want to get an opportunity. So I just can't put Restrepo all the way up in front of these guys. I just can't.
He can earn it. We're not saying he can't earn it, by the way.
That's why I said we got to see it.
These people are trying to crown him and put him on the roster way too early, in my opinion. And discounting at the same time Jefferson, because he's got experience. He's played special teams in the NFL, too. He's got experience as a wide receiver. He's got 900 yards. He's a guy that's proven that he can do it, given the right opportunity. And, I mean, the last 2 years he's played with he ended up in Atlanta, where there was Desmond Ridder was his quarterback, and whoever else, I think it was Tyler Heineke, was still over there. And then that last year, it was a room with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, in and out. They ran the ball a lot. Sometimes it was George Pickens was out there, not Van Jefferson. Like, to me, I look at it and I go, at the end of the day, it's not about – to me, maybe I'm wrong for this, Blaine. I don't care about Xavier Restrepo and Cam Ward's chemistry when it comes to building my wide receiver room, because there are 5 other wide receivers that he needs to be building chemistry with. There's a tight end room that he needs to be building chemistry with. That Cam Ward's...
Well, he already has chemistry with him, doesn't he?
Right, but, I don't care that he does have chemistry is what I'm saying.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't think that should factor into anybody's decision making.
He has to be good enough to, make the roster. This is now an individual decision, and he can push him all he wants to, but at the end of the day, the coaches and the GM and the upstairs, they're going to make decisions if he's good enough or if he's even better than the guys that are already on the roster. So that's why I just said pump the brakes, just slow down and let him prove it and earn it just like everybody else. And then we'll see it all play itself out. I'm rooting for him, but hey, man, let's don't, put the cart before the horse, man, here.
Well, Dixie brings up a good point. There's a reason why they drafted 2 other wide receivers. They had a chance to draft Xavier Restrepo, and they traded up for one of the wide receivers. And again, I'm not saying that Restrepo didn't deserve to be drafted, because we're talking about an All-American guy with 2,000-yard seasons and all this kind of stuff. And I do think the stuff about his 40 is a little overblown. That's why you don't really hear us talk about it. But I do think there is a lack of speed that shows up on his game film, and I do think that matters. And there's only so much zone coverage beating that you can do at the next level from the slot, because people are going to get your hands on you with press right off the bat in the NFL.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how he shows up against some quality guys that are proving this league. You want to see him going against McCrary and all those guys and Bronley, and see how he squares up against them in the slot. Then we start seeing him continue to just make plays and pull away from him. Then this becomes a different discussion. Undrafted players must prove that they belong. The other players that were drafted are going to get more shots than anybody else. So you're going to have to stand out. And not to say he won't, but we got to see it first.
Among wide receivers in the NFL draft class, he was the 17th percentile in success rate versus press. He was 30th percentile in success rate versus man coverage. And so that comes from receptionperception.com. Now, again,
we got the zone numbers.
The zone numbers, he was actually 76.9% success rate. That puts him in the 34th percentile in this particular group. So there were guys better than him in all of these categories, and that's fine. That's how it's going to be for a lot of these guys. But for me, it's like, okay, in the slot, you need to be good against man and press, because that's what you're going to see a lot in the slot in the NFL. You're going to see guys, they're going to be like, okay, I know this guy can't outrun me. So if he somehow gets by me, I can catch up to him. So I'm going to try to be physical at the line. Wouldn't that be how you would approach it if you were a defensive back?
Well, it just depends. Everybody has their own little style. You got to match your style versus theirs. So if you want to be a shadow guy, you feel like he can't run away from you, then, sometimes you want to max him out. I mean, so that's why I said I have to see him. I know a lot of people here on the chat talking about Drew Bennett. Bennett, here's what we're going to know right off the bat when the vets are there and this young player when the training camp start. Drew Bennett, by that time when training camp started, we already knew he was going to make the team. The DBs did. Oh, yeah, there was no question about it. So we should be going into training camp. By this time, we should already know Restrepo's making the team. We should already know.
Yeah.
And Drew Bennett was a tall, lanky, athletic former volleyball player, by the way, and then, quarterback at UCLA. So this dude had some serious athleticism to him.
But I will also say, if you have to go back to 2001 to make a point, that's probably not the point to make. And there are other wide receivers. What I'm saying is there are other wide receivers that were undrafted free agents that you may want to bring in they compare to. Mm-hmm. And I do get why Drew Bennett's an easy one. But like you said, we're talking about a guy that was 6'5", 206 pounds that could probably run. He's probably was Dante Thornton before Dante Thornton, it felt like, on that team. He was athletic.
Yeah, he was athletic, man. I don't know how. Yeah, he was probably more in the 4.5, 4.4 range. But man, he could run routes. It was almost like, dang, man, this dude's been playing wide receiver for a long time. So yeah, he was impressive. So you know as players instantly, and then if we know, then the organization knows and the coaches know. We knew it was no doubt. It was a no-brainer.
Because of how crowded this wide receiver room is. You have to get yourself noticed quickly because if not, you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that he can't do any of this. It's just that those that are trying to go ahead and put him on the roster in the final 53, even if you're at 51%, that is way too high for an undrafted free agent with this particular wide receiver room as it sits.
What I can say, though, I'm sure there were some other teams that offered him. I don't know if it was more or less. But if you look at this room, he probably said, hey, I got a better shot going with my quarterback and we're a team where only established guy really is Ridley. And then he, at that time, Lockett had just signed right before the day of the draft.
Yeah.
So, so he probably looked and said, if I'm going to go be a long shot, let me be a long shot at this spot here. I probably got a better shot.
Yeah, and probably with a guy that maybe I can practice with outside. Mm-hmm. We can work on the playbook, and maybe that will give me a leg up. Mm-hmm. And maybe it will, but we got to see it, right?
He has to have the talent first.
It's a little bit different, catching balls on air. And all that kind of stuff. And
he did look good, though.
He looked good. And doing drills with, I guess, the parachute attached to you or a tire attached to you or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a little bit different once you put on the pads, once you put on every piece of equipment that you add to it makes him a little bit slower. And then when you get up against Roger McCreary, when you get up against maybe Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in the slot or Gabe Judy-Lally in the slot, guys who now have NFL experience to them, how are you going to be able to handle that when there's an entire defense across from you? And that's the question we have. You do not make the roster in rookie minicamp.
I'm about to tell you something. What does he do against all the 10 DBs that they brought in?
They brought a lot of them in, didn't they? I mean,
I want to see that first.
Right.
I mean, man, let's see what you look like. I mean, I'm not saying these guys are going to make the roster, but I want to see you toast them first, and then we can get you to the next level.
Again, not only does he have to overcome that defense that he's going to see at these training camps and all that kind of stuff, but Dixie says he's also going to have Tim Boyle throwing him the ball. So, how does that affect his performance?
He's not going to be getting as many reps with Cam Ward, man.
Right.
I don't know about that.
That's why settle down, everybody. And I would not be calling for Van Jefferson funeral just quite yet because I think he's going to make the team unless he gets injured and then someone else steps up. Yeah. But that's what we got to see. When we come back, we'll hear more from the rookies. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Don't sleep on James Prochet, by the way. We haven't really talked a lot about him, but you're talking about a guy that played 75.5% of his snaps so far since being in the NFL in 2020 from the slot. He is also a returner. He's done many punt returns and kick returns here in the NFL. That experience matters, and probably that experience is going to carry him pretty far into training camp where everybody's going to be like, why is this guy on the roster come the final 53? And you guys are going to have to hear it here first. Likely because he plays special teams. You have to understand he has to play special teams.
What's been it's great. I remember him in SMU, and I think he was more of a third, fourth round guy, but I thought he would have I don't know if he had some injury history or that's why he was available.
Yeah, a little bit of an injury history. He was a 6th round pick for the Baltimore Ravens. But we were talking off air. Van Jefferson is a 2nd round pick from the Rams, but he also runs a 4.39. And that shows up in the NFL. Like he plays 4.39. Chimere, and he did it down in Florida. And I know Chimere DK is a fast guy too that also played in Florida. But sometimes in Florida you see that speed. He doesn't know how to harness that speed consistently. So it's really, and this is a guy that not only has speed, but Van Jefferson is known for his route running, his route craft.
What about Traylon Burks?
I forget he's on this team. I try to forget. Listen, Colton Dow's still out there too. You know, there's a lot of guys.
Truly, right here in Nashville, right? He's coming off an ACL too, so they're twins. They're coming off ACL.
But again, Jaquan Jackson, he can still improve, right? I mean, do you want to bank on it? Probably not. But that's a guy that's going to be hungry, fighting for his life on a roster spot too. And sometimes that matters, right?
Especially in game for him because it looks like the writing's on the wall there.
Yeah. So to me, it's just like, I just find this idea that it's just such an easy path for Xavier Restrepo to make this team. It's an uphill battle. And I don't think that's unfair to say, but because guess what? They're breeding competition. Competition equals battle. He's in a battle for a roster spot in that back half of the roster. He's not in a roster spot for wide receiver 3. Hell, if he would have been here last year, he probably would have been in a roster battle for wide receiver 4. But he's in a roster battle for wide receiver 6 or 7. But on top of that, he's not only in a roster battle. Here, I'm just going to say bottle, I guess, 50 times. Roster battle with cornerback 7. Edge 6. He's in a battle for all those guys because at the end of the day, how they build out that final 53 isn't just about the wide receiver position for those last remaining spots. It's about, do they want to keep 4 tight ends again? Do they want to, keep 6 or 7 cornerbacks because they like Virgil Lemons? How many safeties do they keep? All that is into play, not just a wide receiver spot. So he has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he can contribute on special teams and be one of the top 5, top 6 wide receivers on this team, and that is a crowded room.
And you got to remember now they got to, some of these guys are not going to be playing till the end of the 3rd, the 4th quarter in games. How much will he get to play in game? That doesn't matter, but at least for the other teams to see him besides what he's doing at practice. It's exciting, though, to see what happens here with all this, especially for a guy like him, because it's fit for him to have a shot to make it and just to see where he's at. I mean, because, man, it's going to be a tough climb for guys like him at receiver. It's
tough. It's just tough to make a final 53 regardless of your position.
Yeah, but I really believe if he shows what he thinks he can do, there's an outside shot he can make it. He's going to have some luck along the way.
Yeah. There definitely has to be some luck, a lot of work put into it off field in between these breaks, between all these camps and everything. He's going to have to put in the work as well. It'll be really interesting to see his growth. And that's for all these rookies. I'm so interested to see growth. I'm interested to see the people that were rookies last year take that 2nd-year leap. How much, muscle or weight did Jalen Harrell put on? How does that affect his play? Did Cedric Gray, can he stay healthy? Can he take over and be that guy next to Cody Barton, or is he going to let an Otis Reese, or is there James Williams? That's a guy that could be exciting. We've already talked about it, maybe a Jaquan Jackson redemption arc? What's on the horizon for T'Vondre Sweat? How well did he stay in shape with all this time off? All this stuff matters when it comes to talking about the future of this NFL team. And it all means that there's battles everywhere. Yeah. All up and down this roster, there's competition brewing, and that is fine.
Yeah, but you know what's the hardest part when you're a rookie, when you're coming in, whether you're a drafted guy or undrafted? You now will stand around more than you've ever had over the last 4 or 5 years. And you're not used to it. And it kind of mentally demoralizes you. And it's only the people who get pissed off and say they're going to do something about it, they're going to rise to the crop because it's the first time you're not the dude.
Yeah.
Just think about that now. All these guys were the dudes from grade school, middle school, high school, college, and then they get to the pro. Then all of a sudden, I'm standing around. Watch it. Guess what you better do when you're standing around? Get the mental reps, because when you do get your shot, you better not blow it. And don't go over something that they didn't win over 50 billion times and other people making mistakes, let alone yourself making a mistake. You're going to get a shot, and then when you get it, what do you do with it? You better get your mental reps and learn, even when you're standing. If you don't, you're going to be in big trouble because things are going to move real fast and you're not going to have to think. You already got to anticipate. You know, it's you got to anticipate what's about to happen, what's going to happen, what the motion is, what the check is, even if it doesn't happen. You better be ready.
Take mental reps and be focusing on the technique your position coach is trying to teach you and perfect it and master it. Yeah, that's the quickest way to get there.
Right. But see, some guys that are athletes become robotic when you say think. Mm-hmm. See, it's not reactive. And that then slows you down.
How can you find that balance as a player?
Well, some people can't do it.
Gotcha.
They just can't. So that's what I hate when they say, oh, well, he can't get to the right gap. What they're really saying is, it's not that he's dumb, because that's what it sounds like, right? It's because he's just not as reactive because it's something new to him. So he's not used to doing it naturally. So then it's a half beat off and he's not getting to the spot, and then it causes a crease. And so it's just repetition over and over and over again till it becomes second nature. That's the part. That's why I say you're going to be standing. So how are you getting the reps? How are you doing it over and over and over again? You got to play tricks with your mind. You got to start saying, I'm doing this rep. Every rep that somebody's out there that you're not, you did that rep.
Right.
And you better do it mentally, because you're not going to get the reps like you were getting before. It's not going to happen.
And especially, everybody likes to bring it up in the chat, but he's an All-American, Xavier Estrepo, so it's going to be about how he responds to being on the sideline.
Right.
How does he respond not being Cam Ward's number one guy?
Some guys get demoralized. They go like, dang, I'm not going to make the team.
I would bet against it for Restrepo.
No, I would too. Yeah, I would too, based off his personality and makeup.
There is that possibility, right? We don't know how they respond. We don't know how quick he can be able to react at the NFL speed. We don't know any of that right now. That's something that we have to see, and I think that's why you have to kind of like slow your roll when you're trying to build out these way too early 53-man rosters, which, again, let me tell you something. It's way too early to build out a 53-man roster.
Yeah,
I know people do it because it's the slow time of summer, but it's way too freaking early.
And the guys that were there, they're going to get better. The young players, they're going to continue to get better each and every camp, OTAs, and everything else, even when training camp. So what we see today is not the version we're going to see them when they start in training camp.
Right.
And it's pretty amazing to kind of watch that growth too. I enjoy that part of it because
that's got to be cool. Probably as a former player. Mm-hmm. Also, because you were kind of that guy.
I was that way. Yeah.
And so you were that guy that went out there and worked and everything. So it's always, I think.
I'm giving you the recipe right here.
Yeah.
You better be able to do those mental reps. Because guess what? When 2 guys went down, I knew the playbook upside and down, and I was very reactive. Then I could just play. And I had to worry about thinking. See, if you start thinking, you are in trouble. You are in trouble when you get in the league. You cannot be out there thinking. No. It's got to be right. You got to already anticipate what's going to happen. Oh, when they go into motion, we're going to go to this. If they don't, we stay here. I'm going to do this. Now I got to put my eyes right here. All this is going all at the same time. Some guys can't function that way. They need to say, right here, this is what I do.
And don't you, because of how the NFL is kind of matchup based, have to also think faster than the guy across from you?
Yeah, well, you better.
Yeah.
As soon as he takes half a step, you already better know what's going on. If you don't, you in trouble. It's too good, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's no way. So, yeah, it's an exciting time, though, for the Titans. So we'll see where they all stack up and who makes and who doesn't.
Yeah.
That's always
because really, how many times have we seen a 4th-round pick, probably not a lot, but have we seen a 4th-round pick not make the final 53? It's not a given that these wide receivers drafted ahead of anybody make the team either. It's competition. They're all battling for spot. Now, their likelihood is way greater.
Right.
but there is a battle brewing. I mean, Bryce Oliver, Des Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
He didn't make the team at that first year.
But he made the practice squad.
Because nobody won.
I was just about to say it, and he shouldn't have went. That was just absolutely horrific.
But it always is like it's, Bryce Oliver's coming into this camp. And I know we bring up Bryce Oliver a lot, but it's because he showed enough last year to warrant a team, being on a team. That's a guy coming in, making sure, these guys ain't taking my spot. Mm-hmm. I got to fight for this spot.
And then they drafted 2. He was like, they're not going to be better than me. He better have that kind of mindset or he won't make the team.
Yeah, that's my thing.
They may get more shots than me just because they were drafted.
Yeah.
But every time I get my shot, I'm sure I already have done it. I know I can.
Right.
And that confidence leads you down a different path. And that's why I said not getting
And if he doesn't show up with that confidence, then he's going to lose his job.
He's going
because it's all about that confidence when you're coming in. And what are you going to do about it? That's the question that all these rookies need to ask themselves in the mirror. Like, what are you going to do about it? That guy's coming to take my job? If I'm a second-year player, third-year player, fifth-year player, what are you going to do about it? And if you don't have that mentality, then I feel like you've already lost.
Yeah, I had a couple conversations with myself. I'm telling you, man, it's that hard. You go, oh, man. It was the first time in training camp that I ever thought, I don't know if I'm going to play for them.
Because it's also the grind, right?
The grind is the hard part. It was like, this is different. This is at a whole nother level of speed, intensity, hitting that I'd ever even could imagine. And then you got to sit there and say, hey, man, either I'm going to run around here with my butt on fire or I'm going to just say, you know what? I'm going to go take my State Farm job I got already. I'm just going to go back. Because I did. I had to sit down and really have a conversation with my mom. She was just like, you know what? You have nothing to lose. What do you have to lose? So just give it your all. And if not, you can live with yourself and say, I gave it all I got. And if that wasn't enough, it wasn't meant to be.
What my wife said about applying for this job.
It's right. What do you have to lose? So once I took that kind of attitude, then it kind of opened up, and then I just didn't give a crap, and I just hit everything that moved. That's what happened.
Right.
But before that, I was just like, oh, man, this is what? I was out there thinking. So next thing you know, I'm up here studying my playbook every night to 12 at night, man. And it was just no way I was going to give it all I got and say, hey, man, if that wasn't, that's cool. I could live and said, hey, I almost accomplished a dream that I never thought I'd get. So
how much less hand-holding or self-accountability is there in the NFL? Like, compared to college, because isn't it more self-accountability than in college and the pros?
All these guys with at least the guys they drafted anyway, they had that DNA. You could just tell.
Yeah.
I mean, based on how they talk, I mean, they're pretty much kind of, I feel like I'm talking to a younger self of myself, but that's exactly, they're going to put in the work, and there's nothing they're going to look past and take for granted. So that's not going to be a factor. It's going to be the factor if they're good enough. That's the only
even Gunnar Helm, we don't have to find a clip right now, but there is a clip of Gunnar Helm talking at the press conference, talking about how he is already in the film room with Cam Ward. And Cam Ward has already talked about how the film room is so important to him. Here's Gunnar Helm talking about Cam Ward in the film room.
Yeah, he's been great. Just new guys to surround yourself with. Great culture guys like Cam and Xavier, and obviously Fem on defense.
What impressions of Cam after getting a run with him for a couple days?
Yeah, he's been great. He's just a great leader, super easy to talk to, super easy to connect with, super easy to communicate with on the field. We've been coming in and watching some film in the morning time with some of the other receivers and obviously Xavier, but, the chemistry is just beginning to click for all of us, and it's super fun to be out there with them.
I mean, already in the film room, exactly what you want to hear. I mean, obviously, probably everybody's doing that across the NFL, I would assume right now. But but it also speaks to something, because I've been doing some stuff on Bo Hardigree. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those guys, how I remember when Aiden...
The quarterback's coach, right?
Quarterback's coach for Tennessee Titans, who was... also the quarterback's coach / offensive coordinator in Aiden O'Connell's rookie year with the Las Vegas Raiders. Remember, they got rid of Josh McDaniels in midseason. He took over play calling duty. But in this article from SI.com, O'Connell mentioned how much he admires Hardigree's work ethic. Hardigree says film study is one of his significant tools as he game plans for Sundays. And obviously, most quarterbacks coaches probably watch a lot of film, so this shouldn't be anything new for you. But knowing that that's something that the quarterback's coach values over probably more than anything, And that sounds like what Cam Ward is valuing. That is a good pairing. But it also the fact that Gunnar Helm is there. These receivers are there. They're all putting in the work day one, early in the mornings, probably getting out there and learning all that. Again, it may not translate to wins, but it would be, I wouldn't bet against that it doesn't, because there's going to be times where something they all recognize in film is going to present itself in a game, and they're going to be able to execute it because they put in the work.
Yeah, and they're not going to let anything go unscathed here. So that's what you want. And they already going to work. I mean, that's impressive. A lot of the, young players usually kind of that first year is kind of a windstorm, even if you're a drafted player and you kind of just trying to catch
You hear
up.
about it all the time.
Yeah, so I don't get that kind of vibe at all, which is
They don't seem
pretty
overwhelmed.
impressive. Yeah, it's impressive because it's something that they do, it's something they love, and it's not like work to them. I was listening, I think somebody was saying that, football's hard. No, it's fun. It's only hard if you're not ready to meet the challenge.
Yeah.
It becomes hard if it's monotonous to you and you don't want to be there. But if you want to be there, it becomes then you relish the moment of all the hard work you put in and all the film study and the running and sweating, just all of that, man. It becomes like you get an emotional high from it. It is really uncanny. And so if you don't embrace that, then you need to just get on out the league. I mean, it just these guys are too good, too talented.
Well, you don't stick around by not putting in the work, right? I mean, like in some form or fashion, you're either putting the work at the film room, putting the work in at the weight room, out on the field. Best ones do all three.
Yep.
But you're doing it. And this is a good first step. Like, I know that there was a big thing with, and maybe it wasn't on the radio, but it was at least on Twitter a couple of years ago. So, again, I'm too online. I admit it.
Gotcha.
But a big deal was always made about Marcus going off to Hawaii or the West Coast every chance he got and any break he got. This sounds like a group that is probably going to be here together through every downtime. They may even all buy a house together. I don't know, but like that's
well. Or you go on vacation, you meet and say, hey man, let's kind of go through some things. You want to get to know your families and just get to know the guys personally. That's kind of for the good for chemistry amongst teammates, getting to know them. And then you kind of get personal a little bit and get to know some guys get closer than others. And, that way you understand who they are and how to get them to respond and get the most out of them, especially if you want to be somewhat of a leader of your position group. So, yeah, that's always good. And you're always going to be connected to your draft class. You're always going to be connected to that.
And this seems like a good draft class to want to be connected to. I mean, you hit it on your head. You said it sounded a lot like all these guys sounded a lot like you.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I'm watching this on Saturday.
Too, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm watching this Saturday night. These press conferences, going back and watching them, I'm like, man, all these guys sound like Blaine. There's no way that Blaine doesn't love all these players because they all sound like you.
I was like, dang, man. He's like, hey, you know what I mean? No, it's not that. It's just like, hey, man, I'm trying to get over here, but we were asking about these questions. I don't even really care about these questions. I want to put in some work. I'm ready to go. Matter of fact, I'm about to go catch the jug machine. Y'all got any more questions? I got to go. See, that's kind of, that's the mechanism that gets you going. So, I am really going to be following. I know we always get caught up in the skill guys. At least I do. But, man, Femi is somebody I'm really interested to see. When I saw them big old elephant tree trunks running around that cone, that's hula hoop, I was like, oh, my gosh.
Well, let me say something about that hula hoop. The Combine this year started releasing their information on the position drills. So they have the 3 hula hoops. I think you put the bean bags in or whatever. 5th fastest edge rusher out of all those players. He was in the top 5 in almost every drill speed.
Watch this. I bet he, in his mind, thought he should have been first in all of them. Because here's why I'm going to say that. He was a converted linebacker. He's supposed to be at the top. Yeah. In his mind. I'm supposed to be at the top. I should have got first in all of them. I'm a converted linebacker.
Yeah.
That means some of these dudes is running this man. They probably weigh a little bit more than him.
Yeah. But it's just, to me, I look at it and I go, mentality, these guys got it. Nothing to worry about that. When we come back, we'll talk about Chimere DK and some other comments that were made. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.
Last call for phone calls here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Just wrapping up some rookie minicamp talk for today at least. Chimere Dike was asked about the kind of challenge or benefit of playing with two different quarterbacks of Florida, because obviously he played with Graham Mertz. He also played with DJ Lagway in the same season. Here's what he had to say about that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of twofold, right? Like being detailed in the playbook, understanding kind of the entire scheme, and then also just, be willing to put the time in. That communication between the quarterback and the receivers. I already talked to Cam. Like, I was like, if do whatever you need me to do, I'm going to go out there and, do my best to do that and execute that. And, Cam's been great working with us receivers, and I'm excited to continue to work with him and then get with the veteran guys and learn from them as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, saying all the right things. Put it into practice, obviously. But, I mean, he does have experience that can benefit him at the next level. But I love that's all about, he said, it's all about me knowing the playbook. That's what it's most important. And once you know all that, everything else may fall into place for you. I also thought it was interesting as well that he was talking about whatever you need me to do, Cam, I will do. And I think, again, this mentality, it's infectious. It's hard for me not to want to just say, well, they're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
It's just like how the media is, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. But it's like, it's very infectious with how these guys go. I mean, Jackson's sending me clips all the time saying, oh, man, this guy's got me so excited. Like, I love this guy. I would die for this guy. But it's just,
because they can only do so much, and that's already showing they're going to take ownership. Because once they're out there on the field, at the end of the day, the coach can only do so much. So now it's about, okay, if I run this 7 route, do you want me to bend the knife if the guy's on me and you still going to throw it to me? Oh, absolutely, man. I want you to bend that thing all the way back, and I'm going to put it right here at this spot on the sideline. Just know that's where it's coming.
I don't know the exact route, but there was an in-breaking route this week that Elikayo Manor kind of didn't really do the way that Cam Ward wanted him to do it. And what did Cam Ward do? Told him how I want you to do it. Let's run it again, because this is how I want you to do it. And I think a quarterback already feeling comfortable enough to do that on this basis, we've heard that Cam Ward is known for doing this, so this isn't new. But again, when you get to the pros, you got to make sure you carry over that certain kind of stuff. And I just love it. I love I know.
Well, one thing you're gonna figure out. Once you're a leader, that doesn't leave you because you went and elevated to the next level. It may be about how much you push it into it, and you kind of slow play it. Maybe a little bit different because you don't want to step on people's toes. But eventually, once you've been a leader, especially in a leadership position, that's hard to to hold that back there, especially if you see things done wrong.
And someone in the chat had asked this, and hopefully I'm not butchering the point they were trying to get across over on the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. But they asked, how do veterans respond to that kind of, we heard the Femi Oladejo clip earlier where he was just full of energy and all this stuff. How do veterans respond to that in the first few days of practice? Are they looking to embrace it, cultivate it?
Well, I think what you're missing here is they won't be out there together. Is he the first team rep?
Well, probably not, but I don't know. I mean,
right. See, so what I'm getting at, so there's going to be leaders at every position group, and then there's, okay, if we're young dudes, we're all out here, yes, and then if it's a vet and a young guy, and then he speaks up like, hey, let's go, then nobody's going to, oh, man, be quiet. You got to earn your word. It's not like that. It's nothing like that. So I don't know where that even come from, where people just think that I don't know, man. But
I think it was more of a curiosity than it was an accusation.
Yeah, sports is not like that. So yeah, if you get offended by it, then that guy shouldn't be on the team.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not like that. We all trying to work somewhere in another place. All right, and you also pull guys up when they're struggling, and you protect them even within the scheme when you know another guy's injured and hurt, and he's fighting through it and still playing. That happens without even talking about it. See, so or a weakness that he has that, when we do this, and they definitely going to do this, we're going to make sure we help them out. So, I mean, that's just kind of unwritten rules. It's just the way the nature of sports. Anybody who's played sports for, a number of years at every level, it doesn't change. It's just like, a senior, and then all of a sudden a freshman is a big-time player, and he plays on varsity, and he starts, and you say, hey, man, let's pick it up. What do you think? Do you think the vets say, oh, man, be quiet? No, they don't. No,
Well, I think that's what they were trying to figure out if they do.
nah, I don't think so, man.
Because, I mean, also, don't you want that energy? Even, let's say you're
Yeah, of
the guy
course.
in year 12. You kind of like
course.
feed off that energy, right?
Oh, well, I don't know if you want to feed off. Well,
Feed off the excitement. You get what I'm
it's
saying?
hard for me to relate to talk about feed off some energy. All you got to do is turn on my tape.
Yeah. You were the energy
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. So that's hard for me to kind of say that. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. So, yeah, people, some people need it. Everybody has a bad day, including myself. So, yeah, I get it. So, yeah, that's always infectious for sure.
For sure. Just real quick, I just do want to talk about this. A couple of the games have come out for the NFL schedule release. The full thing will be on Wednesday.
That's right.
I've seen a lot of people crap on the Cowboys versus Eagles opener.
Oh, you did that, Jackson.
I'm sure Jackson did, probably.
But, I mean, that's it. Hey, man.
Jackson, did you?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I didn't have a super strong opinion about it.
I'm excited for it. I mean, first off, it's a rivalry game, one of the biggest rivalry games in the entire NFL.
Trust, I played in that game twice.
There are a lot of people who wanted like Detroit Lions or Bears because of Ben Johnson, all this stuff. But I want to see what this Dallas Cowboys team is. Right? I mean, it's a big game against the Super Bowl defending champs. It's Dak Prescott's first game in a long time. Brian Schottenheimer's first game as a head coach. You have Micah Parsons' uncertainty floating around with his contract. Then you got George Pickens being added to the mix with CeeDee Lamb. I think there's a lot of stories.
You believe those tweets he put out there when he said he was hacked or something?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. I don't.
You saw what I said,
Man,
Jackson?
that's the first time I think you brought something up on Twitter that I didn't see.
Yeah, is that true? Right? Didn't Pickens say somebody hacked him and tweeted out something?
He said it was artificial intelligence.
Did what, though? I don't know what he did.
He said something that I cannot say on the air.
Yeah, he's like he basically hated the Pittsburgh Steelers and they never paid the players.
Gotcha.
And something, crazy.
Yeah, something expletive. They'll never play expletive. Something expletive.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was like, what?
But to me, I like the matchup.
I did too.
And I get that people just aren't enthralled with the Cowboys, but this is kind of like the first time they're not being overhyped. There's been a lot of times where they are being overhyped. They're kind of flying under the radar. And it makes just to see what they look like under the radar is kind of like that team.
This, I didn't even realize this. I mean, growing up I did, but then actually playing in the games, how heated of a rivalry this is and within the division in their conference. It felt like a college rivalry. That's how much the fans hate the other fans and the other team.
Right.
I mean, they were throwing bottles at people. I mean, it is fighting in the stands throughout the game.
The Cowboy fans
These
also
people-
hate their own team right now. So not only do they hate both teams that are going to be playing this game.
But it is a heated rivalry. I mean, when they, knocked Michael Irvin out of the game and messed up his neck and he's getting wheeled off with a cart, in the ambulance and everything, they're cheering.
Yeah.
That's how heated a rivalry this is.
I'm telling you.
This is serious business.
That's why I think it's a good choice. I mean, everybody's kind of pushing back on it, but I'm
They
just
want to
kind
see
of
the
like,
Chiefs versus somebody again?
yeah,
Or
Chiefs versus somebody.
The
I think
Eagles?
the Detroit Lions versus, I think, the Bears was the big one that I saw tossed out. But to me, I don't find this to be a missed opportunity because you can also hate watch it if you don't like either team. You get to hate watch them. Like, man, I hope someone loses this game big or something like that. I'm all in on the game. I think it's a good game.
All right. They could have started off with Titans versus the Patriots.
There you go. Titans versus Patriots should have been Monday Night Football game. All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime,
And in between time.
peace.